Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Freedom to Speak Easy podcast, where there is no prohibition on the First Amendment. Mark Rizzoli there, Anthony Diamarin here, and Mark, we're going to dive right into it. Education back at the forefront here. We've had the head of the teachers union, one of the teachers unions, Randy Weingarten, if I'm pronouncing that name correctly, and with all due respect, if I am not, she's making a couple claims here.
Well, she claims that children do better in schools under the control of the teachers union, which is an interesting statement because she's one who stated that educators have become social justice warriors. She was advocating for the mask mandates when the schools reopened, but she was also the one who was trying to keep the schools closed.
Right.
So, and also she's big with the so-called progressive policies,
Right.
with especially the CRT and everything. So, I mean,
Well,
Randy Weingarten is anything but for the children. For someone who claims that politics should stay out of the schools, she's entrenched in the swamp
Soaking
in
in it.
D.C. Millions of dollars given to these radical Democrats and their radical policies agenda, and she's also part of that whole union narrative where concerned parents are extremists.
Well, I laugh at this, Mark, because I say this is the same union, part of the same union that demanded the shutdown, demanded remote learning, same union that is now using. We know their COVID. A lot of the COVID funds is going to promotions, but now it's also the same union that understands that there is a digression in these students, but now there needs to be more union involvement. Now, which one is it? You were part of the problem, first of all. Now you want to be part of the solution?
Well, I just want to read a statement that Randy Weingarten recently made outside the United States Supreme Court over the tuition forgiveness program. Here's what she said. While she was going nuts.
Mhm.
It pisses me off that pandemic stimulus provided to small businesses were not challenged, but student debt is. Now, that tells you all you need to know.
Right.
So she was willing to accept our economy crumbling during the lockdowns when businesses could barely survive, but trying to equate that to the fact that let's forgive student debt who took it upon themselves to take loans out for higher education, which I have no problem with, but pay back your own loans. It shouldn't be our responsibility to pay back anybody's loan. And the fact that she's trying to use her position as a president of the teachers union, like she has some type of clout now, where she's going to try to intimidate, the Supreme Court and banks and everything else is just unbelievable.
That they do try to intimidate, they bully. Their answer to everything, and the head of the Department of Education, Carlos, I believe Jimenez or some, I think that is his name. Their answer to everything is throw more money at every problem. Throw more money at it. Billions and billions more of taxpayer dollars.
I was going to say throwing all money.
Yes.
That's the solution.
So and as we know, listen, and I'll talk about this in my last call, but I'm going to, the idea that the answer to everything is to throw money at it is not the answer. It is really not the answer, because sometimes social interaction with students doesn't cost anything, really. It shouldn't cost anything. You know what I mean? So they don't even know. I don't even know if this union understands where the problem starts. I don't know if they understand that. So,
well, listen, clearly by how she conducts herself, you see what's going on here. She has the trickle-down effect to the other unions that, if you don't get your way, go out there, attempt to intimidate opposition.
Right.
Their idea of equality is only if you agree with them. If you don't agree with them, there is no acceptance. Our opinions don't matter, nor does the parents' opinions.
Right.
It's either their way or no way, and that's what they go. That's their credo right now.
Well,
let's go outside, protest, make complete asses of ourselves.
Right.
Make ridiculous statements to about helping businesses during the pandemic, which lockdowns that she supported.
Absolutely.
I mean, emails to the CDC from her and her other minions clearly show that they were right involved with these extensive lockdowns, keeping kids out of schools, then masking them up, which the masks don't work.
No, they don't. And it's funny. The Mrs. Randy, or I don't know what pronoun she's going by these days. It doesn't matter. But Randy, because of her and her union, big part of the reason why there has been an uprising in parents' involvement in school board meetings. You see this now. You see more parents get more than ever before getting involved, demanding their kids back into school learning, demanding no mask man. You know what I mean? Whatever it may be, you're seeing a more of a grassroots movement from parents because of people like Randy. So I question.
Well, listen, she basically is the poster child of why we need school choice.
Right. Oh,
You know,
100%.
There needs to be competition. This way, you know what?
100%.
These teachers, you listen. If let's have school choice. This way, if the student enrollment starts going down and teachers start getting laid off, they'll get back to the old-fashioned way. With teaching kids what they need to know. They
Right.
don't need to know about drag queens,
No.
anal sex, and all this other masturbation at young
Right,
ages.
right.
All this other shit about you walk into a classroom, you have LGBTQT flags, you have BLM flags, you have all this radical shit that doesn't pertain to getting
Right.
the proper education.
Where's all the STEM? Where's all the STEM?
Right,
Where's all the
exactly.
STEM programs that
Right.
they should be pushing?
Listen, they're engaged in teaching teachers how to teach communism, for Christ's sake. I mean, it's out of control.
It is.
And then she has the audacity to mock others who
Lecture.
Yeah, it's just unbelievable. I don't know who made her. It's another thing. Everybody out there, think real long and hard. Did you elect the teachers union to govern this country or your
Right.
state?
Right.
No, you did not.
Right.
But unfortunately, here in New Jersey, Phil Murphy has basically given access to the NJEA and those jackasses at Garden State Equality because they purchased access to the governor's office, and they are governing your state right now.
Well,
That's a fact.
We'll relate it right to the New Jersey because NJEA is one of the biggest unions in the state. They have enormous amount of influence in what goes on in policy in general. Okay. But this woman,
And not only that, now they are getting engaged in local school board races.
They
Which
are.
in the meantime, if a Republican tries to endorse a Board of Ed candidate, they immediately say no politics involved.
right.
They're so full of shit.
Right.
They are basically become an arm of the radical Democrats. Okay, and they are directed to attack opposition and try to this cancel culture and harass people on social media. They are the biggest cowards of them all.
So school boards are supposed to be nonpartisan, and my recommendation is if you are in a district that is a radical district, okay, and you're a Republican that wants to get involved in the school board, maybe even think about switching to independent, just to not get involved in here. Don't get involved. Don't allow. Because they have a lot of money that you don't have, okay, these unions, they will spend like drunken sailors to get you out of the race.
Well, you make sense, but my response to that is why should anybody have to hide their party?
No, they shouldn't.
You know
They shouldn't.
what?
But
go out there and push right back on them.
the object is, Mark, my thing is the object is to win. The object is always
I
to
get
win. And we're better off occupying seats, us, our like-minded people, whether you're a Democrat or Republican, if you're like-minded like us, a rational, common sense human being, all right, knowing that a lot of the stuff that's pushed into this curricula is not acceptable, okay, then you should be sitting on the school board, all right, and that's it. And if you're a registered Republican and it's going to hurt your chances, then hey, I'm all for doing what you got to do to switch parties or switch, because that should not be that a party should not be what defines you. It really shouldn't be.
Well, the problem is the state chairman Bob Eugen is nowhere to be found.
No, nowhere.
He should be out in the forefront,
Pushing back against
against the NJEA,
Absolutely.
the National Teachers Union, all this stuff. That should be the number one priority, is protecting
Absolutely.
children. I mean, what's going on here is just unbelievable. How you have all these different teacher union presidents,
Right.
different layers now, trying to dictate policy. And it's just it can't be allowed. I mean, they're not elected to govern this country, not elected to govern states, and it has to be stopped. I mean, she's out there putting out lies about Ron DeSantis.
I know.
Well,
they're afraid that he's going to be the next president. That's
well,
what
he's
that is.
pushing back on their woke ideology and
Right.
everything and their ridiculous curriculum.
Right.
So they don't like anyone who stands up to them.
Well, they also don't like the fact that he was one of the first to open up their schools. Okay,
Yeah,
and then there was no, you didn't see any type of the world didn't fall apart because he opened up the schools a little early. You know what I mean? So they don't like that, the mask mandates, so on and so forth. But more importantly, these unions, to all those parents out there, they feel that they know better for your child, what's better for your child than you do. That's what it comes down to.
Well, I don't. It's more of their politics. Their politics is driving everything right now because they're so entrenched with the radical Democrats. I mean, and it's so obvious with the thing, everything they've been, moving forward with as far as education has nothing to do with advancing a child's education.
Right.
It's all about advancing political ideology, and it's a shame.
It really is a shame. And we're these unions, and we're going to continue to push back against these unions, whether it's the NJEA, the National Union Association of Teachers, whichever it may be, because honestly, I don't care what group you're associated with, what party you're associated with. You shouldn't be teaching anal sex in the 3rd grade. It's as simple as that, Mark. I mean, it's as simple as that. That's just the beginning of it, though.
I've said it before. What's the educational value of having a drag queen read to children?
Oh, absolutely.
And they should ask one of these weirdos, what is the need for you to have an audience with a child or with children for that?
Well, the NJEA had at their had drag queens at their
not just that, I think it had all radicals.
Oh,
speaking. It was
without
all
a doubt,
politics.
without
it
a doubt.
To do with education. All the good politics.
And it's funny, all the good teachers that I know, they all stay away from the convention. They don't go down to the convention. So it seems like everybody that's going to the convention are agreeing with these policies. It's terrible. It's absolutely terrible. Yeah. So. But we're going to be more on this going forward. We're going to be pushing back against these unions, especially these radical unions.
Yeah, keep track. Listen, everybody out there, keep track. That these teachers that now want to teach communism. I mean, it's just unbelievable. And just remember something. You don't pay teachers to be activists. You pay them to educate your child.
Yes.
To all those teachers out there, we had one I see one in the board meeting. We had a video sent to us where a teacher was proclaiming that she's an activist. No, sorry. Go be an activist on your own time. Right. You're not paid with taxpayer dollars to be an activist. Right. You're paid to educate. Right. If you don't like it, quit your job.
Right. Exactly.
There's a lot of Looney Tune organizations you can become a member of and start filtering your shit that way.
And there's a lot of great teachers out there who are in the silent majority that they need to start speaking up.
Well, it's unfortunate.
They need to start speaking up.
It's unfortunate. The good teachers out there are intimidated.
Yes, they are.
They're intimidated by the union. They're afraid to speak out, and it's a major problem.
It is. It's a big time problem. So, but before we end each show, and that we're gonna have a lot more to say on this matter, I can tell you that much, folks. But before we end each show, we do what we call is the last call, and Mark and I get up to 1 minute to speak about any topic we like to discuss. And as always, Mark, what say you?
Yeah, I mean, I want to call out once again so-called Republican Senator John Bramnick, who recently was criticizing Tucker Carlson. I don't know, for those of you who haven't seen it, I think everybody has. He was given access to all the video from the January 6th incident down in D.C., and it shows a lot of the video was totally different than the so-called what the Democrats have been putting out with their committee and everything. They seem to have cherry-picked the video. And not only that, video footage that could have exonerated some of the people sitting in jail now wasn't shared with their clients.
Right.
So John Bramnick, who is an attorney, the last time I checked, we have a presumption of innocence in this country until proven guilty, not the other way around. The fact that evidence wasn't provided to defense attorneys, which is mandated in court, is just incredible. And, we should not allow political entities, I don't care what party it is, to be undermining our judicial system. I mean, just think about that for a moment. We have people sitting in jail right now where video footage would have exonerated them. It's extremely disturbing. So whether people like it or not, the truth is the truth, and video evidence is video evidence, and these people would deny due process. I mean, listen, we'll never, we never condone attacking or assaulting any police or violence.
Absolutely.
But the fact is, the individuals that are sitting in jail could have been exonerated by the video.
Absolutely.
And then the jury pool was tainted because of what the Democrats are putting out and these, the far left media. So I think everybody should really sit back and say to themselves how bad the Biden administration and his allies in the Senate and the Congress, these radical Democrats, have really made a mockery of not only our electoral system, but now our judicial system. And the fact that we have a senator right here from New Jersey trying to, attack Fox News and Tucker Carlson for putting out the truth is really concerning to me.
Hey, truth hurts sometimes, Mark, and it's sad because, and speaking about the truth is, and my last call is the Department of Education. Where is the Department of Education that are supposed to be, protecting the student and what goes on in these classrooms? And the Department of Education, in my humble opinion, you could go all the way back to when Ronald Reagan was president, who tried to get rid of the Department of Education and was stopped by a lot of people in his own party, as a matter of fact. Okay, Tip O'Neill was one of them, who was Speaker of the House at the time. But the Department of Education has become another department that is not full of educators, that is not it's full of bureaucracy. It's full of them pushing in an agenda, okay? And I'm going to be I'm going to be doing a lot more research. I'm going to be pulling out a lot more statistics. I suggest everybody look into the Department of Education. Look at where the United States stood before the Department of Education came in the 70s and where it's now afterwards, where we rank in the world. And anytime government has their involvement in most things, we end up it ends up hurting it. And that's my last call for today. And I really want to make sure that people understand that the Department of Education isn't about education. It is about indoctrination. It really, truly is. And we're gonna spend some more time, I think, going forward, unveiling a lot of what goes on in that department. So shame on the Department of Education not speaking out about radical union members and what their agenda is. But Mark, as always, it was a pleasure.
Great night, everybody. Don't forget, vote by mail, vote early, take advantage of it. You have to vote and send a message.
And don't forget to visit freedomtospeakeasy.com and to visit our YouTube page. Subscribe to our YouTube page. We're growing. And send us anything you got. Hey, listen, if you guys have video, things that are going on in your school board that you want us to be made aware of, send it on over to us. Is that correct, Mark?
Yeah, we want video. If there's any violence in your schools and they're
Absolutely.
putting on TikToks, forward it over to us so we can put it up on the site.
Sounds good. And until next time, folks, from the Speakeasy, take care, everybody.
Have a good night.
1, 2, 3 to the groove, come dance with me. Swing out, jive in. Come on, honey, show me how you move it. Swing out, jive in. 1, 2, 3 to the groove, come and dance with me. Swing out.